Well, before we get started, I'll tell you a little bit about me. I started playing piano at 6 because I was jealous of my brother. He was playing piano, he's a little older than me. So I started playing, but I realized I'm not good at piano. So then I left that to learn how to play saxophone. I fell in love with that, but then I realized that I'm okay at it, but I'm not sure if that's all I want to do. Then I moved around from like guitar to clarinet to flute and all these different instruments, but the main thing that stuck with me is that I'm not really good at any of these one instruments. And so I needed to find a way to make music, but not feel like I was just playing notes. I wanted to go on a creative experience. And that's where sampling comes into play, because when I discovered jazz through saxophone, I realized that music is it's a very fluid motion, and for the creator, it's a fluid motion and a journey. We're going somewhere, whether it's just 3 minutes of repetitive drum, bass, rave, whatever. It's 3 minutes of me trying to find something inside of myself that no one else could really pull out. And so as I got older, I got introduced to hip hop. Hip hop taught me about sampling. I began realizing that you could take sounds from anyone, anywhere, any genre, and mix them together with a beat and create something entirely new, which, growing up, we learned how to play instruments. You learn the classical sense of how to play in 4/4 and how to read music. But what we don't do is we talk about how we can fuse together what we already have and make something original. So once I started learning how to sample, I was moving to Richmond at the time. I went to some of the house parties around here and saw people using SP404s, which are little like samplers, and they can just go right on the go and they can make stuff. And that for me was a revelation, because I'm used to playing saxophone. I'm used to being like, the lead, not necessarily the composer, not necessarily deciding where I go, just being on top floating. And so sampling allowed me to decide, okay, I'm gonna take this part, I'm gonna take these drums, I'm gonna take this girl singing over here, and I'm gonna take some guitar, and we're gonna mess around and make something that, in a way, is still me, because remember, I don't really know how to play these instruments all that well. What I know how to do is play and get sound out of there that I can use for something else. So what I figured we'd do today is we do some sampling. And I'm gonna show you guys the first part of sampling. Bear with me for a minute. So I'm gonna let you guys hear something I made. This track right here, I played all the instruments on it. It's just an original track I did in my bedroom. So what we have here is I was playing guitar and stuff, and I started adding instruments. I got to a point where I was adding clarinet, I was adding saxophone, I was trying to mess with the drums. But this is all because I was able to sample it in. I played it, but I sampled it in. So what that means is I took parts of this, what you're hearing now. I don't know if can you guys see this pretty well? All right, I took parts of that and I mashed them together. So you can't really tell where I'm taking each part from. Is what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna show you guys. We're gonna take this first part that you're hearing now, and we're gonna change it into something entirely different. And this is the first step of sampling, is reimagining what you're already hearing. And can you guys think of how Hotline Bling would sound if you did it differently? I can't, but what I can do is add effects and rearrange it until something does exist, something that we can use. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take what you were just hearing, and we're gonna cut it into little pads. So now these pads all have a different part of the song, maybe 3 minutes in, maybe 30 seconds in. They're pretty indiscriminate. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick view of that. So that's one part of it, right? But then here's another. Right, so both of those are pretty random. They seem pretty indiscriminate. But what you can do is you can take these and put these together, and we can get something like what I'm about to show you guys. Okay, cool, so we got something. This is how a lot of old school hip hop's putting together, because what we're doing is we're just taking different parts of a song and we're mashing together, because at the end of the day, they're notes. They're still notes. They can still be put together. Now this right here sounds personally to me a little rough, a little, a little heavy on the ears. So what we can do is the next section, and that's manipulation. With the technology we have now, we can take something like this and maybe, mask it out to something a little different. Maybe I want to take some sound effects and make an atmosphere. The reason of doing that is not necessarily to make a song, but now I have motion. I've got some water in my cup, you know what I mean? I can roll with this, and you could take this and you could go do millions of things. We could take this and add a beat repeater on it. We could add a delay on it. And the whole point is now I can use this as some texture, something to give me legs to go. So I'm gonna take this out and we're gonna do something different because this is the first part of sampling, but sampling can do a whole lot more. We're gonna take someone from the audience, we're gonna sample them and then turn them into a piano because that's a whole nother aspect of sampling that hasn't been mentioned and that I haven't learned elsewhere except for on the internet. So if I could get a volunteer, anybody? Wanna come on up here? All right, so we're gonna sample her voice in and we're gonna change it to a piano and we're essentially just gonna make a beat and vibe out because it's early morning, you know? All right, so you see this little heart. You just wanna talk into that.
Hello.
Almost, 1 second. All right, you should be good. Can you hear yourself? Go ahead, talk.
Hello.
Yeah, Ooh, go ahead.
Hello.
Can you guys hear that all right? No, you guys can't hear that at all? Let's fix this. Try again.
Hello.
Oh, now we're good. All right, cool. So go ahead and tell me your name.
Gabriella.
Gabriella, okay. Why'd you come today?
Because I love TED.
Oh, okay. Have you watched a lot of them online?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Very nice. Okay, what year are you?
I'm a sophomore.
Oh, what are you studying?
Graphic design.
Oh, do you draw? What do you?
I like collage a lot.
Oh, you collage.
Yeah,
Okay,
which is
very
kinda
cool.
Because it's kind of like the same thing.
You know, you're kind of taking away from my TED Talk now. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah,
I
cool.
appreciate that. Awesome. Can we get a round of applause for her? All right. So I'm going to let you guys hear her voice in the raw real quick.
Hello.
Now, it took me a lot of programs to get to the point where I could just pitch stuff down without pressing any keys,
Hello?
without really thinking about it, and do something different. Right.
Because I love TED.
Right. This is cool because this means that now I can take it and turn it into whatever note I need. It doesn't necessarily matter what scale or what chord we're playing. All it matters is if I can fit it into what I'm already doing. So now what we're doing is
like collage.
we're going from this is like what she was saying earlier. We're going from Paint to Photoshop. Now we can Photoshop in anything and it looks professional. You can't tell the difference. Let me give you an example. Hotline Bling, most of that song's a sample with some drums on it. But I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known unless I looked it up online, and then I realized how they were putting together songs. So let's take her voice and let's add something. Let's do something with it. But first, we add some drums, because you gotta have drums. You guys hear that? Let's see. So this particular pad right here, Ableton pad, has a whole bunch of buttons on it, but this allows me to not have to write out exactly what I'm doing. I'm guessing at it, you know, I'm just pressing buttons. Literally, we're just pressing buttons, and we're gonna see where we get. All right, cool. We got something. Now, the point of this drum is just to give us something to roll with until we start putting down stuff. So now what we can do, we can take her voice and turn it into a piano, which I think is super cool because I did, on that track you guys heard, I did the same thing for the saxophone and the clarinet. They were kind of played out of scale. They weren't in tune. It didn't sound that great. My equipment wasn't that good. But this program right here, it's got the works. So all right, so it doesn't sound too pretty, but the point is that it's, you know, we've got something. Now we have a sound. Now we're gonna take this and we're gonna mess with it, and from there we're gonna move, and I'm gonna create a song for you guys, and we're gonna see what happens. All right? Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is really, I'm gonna mess with it and try to get the right texture. Kind of like, am I going for leather or am I going for a really, really, really soft fabric, such as, you know, some plush or something? Now, I feel like this isn't really the mood I'm feeling, but this is the vibe that I got right now. I could do anything with that, but this is what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna mess with it now. This is the second part of sampling. Really, is messing with the sample. We gotta mess with it and we have to figure out what we want. We're taking an accident and making it intentional. So briefly, I'm gonna show you guys that. More sound effects. Now I just do a delay on it. The whole point of this really is to find a way to move to something. Sometimes sampling doesn't mean that we're going to take the sample and use it in the song. Sometimes it means that we're going to take a sample and we're going to use it as an idea board. Because when I listen to music, I don't just hear what's there. What I hear is what was the intention here. And that's what we're doing today. So thank you guys.